Welcome back to the channel. Winks here. If you want to learn how to unlock all your Evilty slots for Disgaea 5, then stick around to the end of the video. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. If you haven't already, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button. Today's video, we're going to be talking about Disgaea 5 and Evilties. If you've been keeping up with the channel, then you know that we've been talking about maxing stats. We've been using Seraphina as the example, and for this one, we're going to use her again for the example. But there are two types of Evilties in this game. There, as you can see on the screen there's unique Evilties and there's common Evilties. Now, when you do your research online and you are trying to max your stats, this isn't one of the most common steps that is really considered a step for maxing your stats. But, you know, there's more than one way to skin a cat, as some people say, and I would say, just from my personal experience, that this did help towards maxing stats, because there's some Evilties that you can equip to your characters to add that additional stat to that character and make them that much more stronger. So for me, I kind of consider this in a way a step towards maxing your stats, but this is also helpful to new players to Disgaea as well as veteran players. So first we're going to jump into the unique Evilties, and I'm going to show you how to get those. You can get a max for your story characters, for all the characters that cannot be, created. You can get up to 6 unique Evilties for those characters and 20 common Evilties. Now, for your generic characters that you make, they can only get 4 unique Evilties and 20 common Evilties. So by default, as you know, we've been using Seraphina. So the first thing that we did, she got her first 10 million in stats from mastering subclasses and then reincarnating, and then she got the second 10 million in stats from getting the maxed out extract that we talked about last weekend. So pay attention to her stats here, because you're going to see as we're getting these Evilties how much those stats increase with these Evilties. Because for one of these unique Evilties you have to have at least 50 million in stats to get that last one, and we're going to demonstrate that here. So by default, like I was saying, you get 2 of these on your unique characters just by maxing their level out. So that's exactly what you see on the screen here. And right now she's got 12 common Evilties. So the breakdown on how this works is the first unique Evilty comes from the strategy assembly. The second unique Evilty comes from the Carnage printing that I mentioned in a previous video. And the third unique Evilty that we're going to get today comes from defeating Carnage Void. You can also get a 4th one, but I haven't gotten that one yet because I'm not to that point, by beating Carnage Ball. But he is a pain in the ass to kill. He basically just wipes you out as soon as you come onto the map. But you can get 6 total for your unique characters. When it comes to the common Evilties, Evilties 13 through 17 you get just by completing Shara World runs on Super Overlord, and the last 3 you have to go to the strategy assembly and pass a bill called Challenge an Evil Person or something like that, and you got to do that 3 times to get 18, 19, and 20 for your common Evilties. And I'm going to show you all that here now. So we're going to start. As you can see, I had Seraphina. She's been the example the entire time. I'm going to use her again. But what I did, because I'm kind of doing things a little backwards in order to pull this off, I put a couple traps on her. I call them traps because that's just a cooler way of saying it. But you're actually going to need your traps to do this. And I have all 3 equipped to her to help boost her stats a little bit. Now, you're going to want to tune in next week, because next week I'm going to go into the item world farming and how to get this trap. But I'm not going to talk about all that right now. I'm just explaining that I've given her 3 traps to help pull off getting these unique Evilties. So, like I said, the first one, you're just going to go to the strategy assembly. You're going to use that character, Seraphina. Equip a unique Evilty. This is the first one. They're probably going to deny it. Doesn't matter. They're going to give us what we want regardless. So we're just going to pay up. And now we've passed it.
I can't believe it.
Unique Evilty has been approved. And if you look at Seraphina, she now has that third slot right there on the screen. We just passed the bill for it. The next one that we're going to go to is we're going to go fight that Carnage Prinny. So I'm going to find the Carnage Dimension, and then I'm going to go into Overture of Downfall. So I'm going to pull Seraphina out. I'm gonna bring her up here towards the middle and just end the turn because they're not going to do any damage to her anyway. I'm going to try and draw them all closer so I can get this over with a little faster. We'll go right up to this Prinny. And watch this. Seraphina gained a unique Evilty slot just by killing him. And that's it. So we got the first one from the strategy assembly. We got the second one from killing this Prinny. And now we're going to do the third one, which is Carnage Void. Now, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to show you some Evilties that you can put on your character to make them a little bit stronger and help them kill him a little bit easier. So, since we have those unique Evilty slots, one of the first ones that I would recommend is Greedy Disposition. Increase stats by money owned by 3%. So I'm going to get that one for sure. And then there's another one. I think last time I got Lovely Song. Okay, well. Oh, I already had it. Look at that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give her Greedy Disposition, because that's going to add. And take a look at her stats. Her attack's roughly at 28 million. But this Greedy Disposition increases it by the money you own by 3%. So we're going to add that one. And look at how much the difference is already from that one Evilty that we just put on her. She went from 28 million to 39 million. That's like, I don't know the exact number to that, but if you just do some like rounding, that's like 10 million, maybe 11. Then we're going to add Lovely Song, just to give her a little bit more when she's on the map. And then I'm going to do Heavy Stance, which that should add, another 30% to these stats. So look at her now. Now she's at 47 already. Just from a couple Evilties, she's already gained like close to, little under, probably about 20 million in stats. Just from adding Evilties. That's why I said earlier that this should be considered one of the steps to maxing your stats. I'm also going to put Purgatory. No, actually I'm going to do Shaking Excitement because that increases the stats by enemy units on the map. You won't see that reflected right here in the menu, but when you go to the map, you should see a difference in the stats. So now that we've equipped those, I've given her those traps. The last thing we're going to do to boost her stats a little more to get this last unique Evilty is we're going to come here to this squad. And we're going to put her in the Foot Soldier squad. Now, we're going to take a look at her stats. They're at 47 million, just that first one there, attack. I'm going to dump her in there. Now she's gained, like 5 more million. She's at 52 million. Because the way this squad works, if you read it, you get a stat boost based on the number of units in this squad. So the more you have in here, the higher their stats. Another thing that you can do to strengthen the squad is right there in the top right corner, you see number of squad members. You can just take some of these prisoners and assign those. I think this maxes out at like 225. But you want to put around 200 squad members into this squad to really get the full effect of this squad. And that's really good when you do like team attacks and stuff. or squad attacks. So now that we've dumped all those in there, we got the traps, we got the Evilties. Now Seraphina is just over 50 million in stats, and that's all we did was equip those unique Evilties. Now I'm going to show you how to get the last one. Before we do that, because you don't have to do this on 20 stars, you just have to be able to beat Carnage Void. So I'm going to make sure he's not going to wipe us out and the stars are turned down. So I'm going to go here, and your setup may be different. I'm just showing you basically how you get the Evilty. You may have a different combination. You're just going to have to do whatever you do to kill him. You're going to go to Inner Dark Demise and then Evil God of Tyranny. Now, you should be able to do this in 3 turns, depending on your setup. So what I do is the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out my monster bait, and I'm literally just going to draw him out. He'll come up here in 2 turns. He powers up the first time, I defend again the second time, and he comes up behind her and tries to attack. So now that he's up here and his units have started moving, now we're going to kill him. So he should be able to be wiped out in the 3rd turn. So I'm going to bring a few characters out, because if you look at his stats, he's right at 50 million. You can't see that because my head's in the way, but most of his stats are around 50 million. So you need to be a little more than that when you take him on. I came back and killed him after I did my item world farming, which is how I have those traps. You may end up having to do the same thing. You may not. That is completely up to you. I'm just showing you one way to how to do this.
I will.
I'm going to use some of my characters, some of my stronger ones, to weaken him a little bit first, and then allow Seraphina to get the last killing blow.
Who cares about being poor?
And I'm going to try not to kill him in the process with the wrong character. So I'm going to use Braveheart to raise Seraphina's attack a little bit. I am going to, you know what, I probably should have swapped these 2 characters, because the maid doesn't need to be right next to her. The Buffer Sage does.
I will. I shall go.
There we go. I'm going to make Seraphina attack more than once. I'm going to make Kilia attack Void. I'm going to make my Sage attack Void. And then I'm going to make Seraphina try and land the finishing blow.
Okay.
Doesn't work.
Yeah. My eyelids are getting heavy.
And he's right there at it.
Doesn't work.
Seraphina gained a unique Evilty slot. And they also get Eclipse Power when you kill them. Now, Eclipse Power is really good to be a 1-slot Evilty. Eclipse Power, basically what that does is every time you kill like a boss character, an item god, or one of those dark proto deaths in the item world, you get to keep a little bit of their stats. You absorb it a little bit. So, if you got an extra slot to throw that in, it doesn't hurt to put that on the characters that you're leveling up. But as you see, now I have that 5th Evilty slot right there. And then we can go back and get another unique Evilty, whatever we want. Another stat booster if you want, and add that much more. Now, personally, I like Violence. That's one that I would put on her. I don't remember how I got it the first time, but once you get it the first time, you can duplicate it and put it on other characters. I think Kilia has it. Increases stats by 50%, but you only earn 50% EXP. So once you've already leveled your character up, that second half of this doesn't even matter. You just get 50 more stats on your character. But that's what I would put on Seraphina to give her even more stats. So now that you've seen how to get those, and again, the 6th one you get from beating Carnage Ball, but I haven't gotten that one yet. Now we're going to focus on the common Evilties, and I'm going to show you how to do one run through with that. I'm not going to show you all of them, but I'm going to show you how to do the first one, and then you just repeat it multiple times. So, like I said, 17 or 18 through 20 you get from passing this bill, which we're about to do. I'm going to show you real quick with Seraphina. You're going to look for challenge a crazy opponent. No, that's not it. Sorry. Challenge an evil person. Miss Evil will appear in the next Shar World. Super Overlord visit, okay? Past that. Begin to vote. Same thing as usual, just vote. Pay up. Once you start doing
I can't believe it.
the Carnage World stuff, if you sell one item, one Carnage item, you'll have more money than you'll ever. Your money will basically just max out, and you can pay every one of those. If you look at my screen right there, I mean, that's just from passing a few bills, but normally that's all 9s all the way across. When I've got characters coming back from this research right here, I just sell all that stuff, and I got max money again. So we passed the bill, and now we're going to go in here, and just a normal run through here on Super Overlord will give you an Evilty slot, 13 through 17. But because we passed that bill, the first 3 times you're going to pass that bill, you'll get 2 at a time. So if you look, I'll show you. Seraphina currently has, if you count that, she's got 12 common Evilties right now. After we do this run, she should have 14. We should have gotten 2 from this because we passed the bill and we're going to complete the run. Then you do that 3 times and you'll get 6 of them. And then the last 3, you're going to do a total of 5 runs, but the first 3, you're going to pass the bill before you go into it. So she had 12. She should have 14 after this one. So we're going to go in here. And I may fast forward through a little bit of this. I won't cut it out, but I'll fast forward so you can see what's going on. Super Overlord. And yes. And this doesn't have to be done on 20 stars either. So there's that's what the bill does. It brings her in here. And she's going to come straight for us. And we also have an evil clone in here that's really good to beat too.
What is it?
Here she comes. She's actually not really that hard. Your clone is harder to kill than she is. And my advice when you come to the Shar World, because the Shar World is one of the steps that you're going to take towards maxing your stats. You know, I've seen people, discussion through talking to some of you through the comments and stuff. Some of you go to Shar World before you start doing your item world farming, which you can do. There's no particular order between those two, but you're going to end up maxing your aptitudes anyway. So, I'm just going to show you part of that by doing this. And she's easy. You just wipe her out. And that dowsing rod is really good. You can only use 1 per Shar World visit, so don't use 2 of them. You can only raise your aptitude so much with that dowsing rod on 1 run. But all aptitudes received a bonus. Alright, so now we've entered the goal.
Go! I did it!
And this is where you're going to get one of the other common Evilties. So when you come into this room right here, this little fish right here, you just talk to him, increase number of Evilties, and then just accept. Evilty slots expanded. So we got 1 from the fish and 1 from beating the evil lady that dropped into the map. And you can see the aptitudes increased too. You're going to actually max those aptitudes out. Eventually you're going to get to a point where you're pushing those to 300, all of them. And that's a long grind too, so you're going to be visiting the Shar World a lot. But I didn't do it in that order. I did the item world farming first because if you look on the traps that I have, there's a unique innocent on them that raises your aptitudes by 20% anyway. So if I go to one of those, if I go to my equipment, if you look at that indoor fighter, which I can't show you right here, but that indoor fighter on that trap raises your aptitudes by 20%, and I have 3 of them, so I got a 60% bonus from that. But if we look at Seraphina, now, like I said before we went in there, she had 12, now she's got 14. So you pass that build 2 more times, do 2 more runs, you'll have maxed, some of it out with that. You'll have done as much as you could with the strategy assembly, and then the other 2, you just do a couple more runs in the Char world, and you'll have 20 slots. Just like I do on these other characters. Well, maybe not that one, that was a bad example. Like Killia here. He's got all 20 because I've ran him through Char world a lot. So, just in summary, unique Evilties and common Evilties, you pass the build and strategy assembly, you beat Carnage Prinny, you beat Carnage Void, and then you do a few Char World runs by passing that build the first few times, and you just get them all. And that'll help increase your stats also. So that's it. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, like and subscribe.